Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Remnant Christian Book Reading Channel. Today, we're going to be going back into the Key House. The Key House, yep, that's right. And we're going to be going right into the next chapters, which, if I believe, the next chapter is chapter 7, Town Talk. And we're going to be doing two, maybe three chapters today, okay? Excuse me. Sorry for the pause in the uploads. Had some situation going on with my mouth and couldn't really talk that confidently, so I didn't want to sound silly when I was reading. But now we're back, so let's go ahead and get right back into it. Chapter 7, Town Talk. The ground seemed far more uneven than Caleb remembered while furtively creeping toward the bowl just minutes before. But he managed to maintain his balance as he fled for the fence. If he fell, that would be the end of it. Of him. The beast's barks were intermingled with growls like there was something in his mouth. Caleb feared that soon it might be him. As he approached the mound of stones, a thought came to him. With one motion, he bent down, grabbed a stone, roughly a little larger than a golf ball, took one step, and then twisted in the air as he landed on his left foot, angled toward the snarling attacker. When he planted his right foot, he released the rock like a missile, praying it would find its mark. After firing his shot, he continued twisting as with one motion until he was headed for the fence again. Fear kept his eyes fixed on the trees, never looking back. But a strange relief came when he heard the yelping of a fast-approaching savage beast. As he reached the trees, his arms brushed the branches aside, creating a temporary escape through them. With both hands grabbing the top of the tall fence, he catapulted his body over it and then tumbled to the ground. Safe. With labored breathing and heart pounding, he got up from the ground. Brushing himself off, as he looked back, the demonized Rottweiler was nowhere in sight. All three of his watchmen gathered around him, patting him on the back. Jared was amazed. "Dude, did you see that dog go down? You nailed him smack on the nose! Clocked him!" Though needing desperate measures to ensure his safety, Caleb still felt guilty and showed it. David saw his face. Never mind that dog. He had it coming to him. But Caleb's expression remained unchanged. Look, he was only down a second or two. Then he got up and ran off to his evil master. I'm sure he'll be okay, David assured him. Caleb nodded his head, still winded from the close call. Wanting to get Caleb's mind off of the harrowing experience, Angelo asked, "So, do you guys ever go back into the woods behind your house?" "Sure," David said. "Like way back towards the quarry?" Angelo added. "Not really." "So, you've never been to Noland?" "Noland? Are you trying to say Noland?" Caleb asked. "Wow! So you guys have never heard of Noland? Well, we got to show you. Come on, follow us," Angelo insisted and then quickly turned to go. "Wait, you guys know how to get there from here?" Caleb inquired. "Seriously? As famous as this place is, we've been back there dozens of times," Jared revealed. The two Noland brothers just looked at each other, shrugged their shoulders, and followed their friends between two trees in the very back of their yard and down a path toward the distant quarry. The discussion on their journey made Caleb and David feel so awkward that others, even kids their age, knew more about the Noland estate than any of them did. "How far is it to the quarry, and how deep is it? Like, really deep?" Caleb asked. "It's about a mile down the path here, and yes, it's deep, super deep, but it's mostly filled in with water now." I guess after all this time it would be. Caleb looked over at Jared, who had decided to do most of the talking now. That's not why it's got so much water in it. Jared looked at Caleb quizzically. It's because of the accident. Accident? Yeah, when they broke into the, what's it called? The underground water thing, Angelo said. The aquifer? Caleb asked. Yeah, that thing. Like forever ago. It flooded the quarry, killed like 5 workers, and put it all out of business. And that's where all the stories start. Stories? Like what? Have you heard of the Keyhouse? How do you know about that? Caleb was shocked. So you do know something about this place. I've heard that your my great grandfather, Jonathan Noland? Yeah, that's his name. People said he killed some pirates in his day and stole their treasure, then hid it in well, your house. But why is it called the Key House? And what does that have to do with the accident? David inquired. Jared smiled. He loved to tell a good story. You see, a lot of people blamed your Mr. Noland for the flood. That he shouldn't have known, or he should have known not to dig there. But he was more interested in the money. Now, this is just what I've heard. They even say he paid off the 5 families with hush money. He gave some of them property and houses he owned on his land to quiet them. But his house, the Key House, is the one where... Jared looked around like he wanted to keep a secret, which was kind of silly, since the 4 were the only ones out there in the woods. Where the treasure is buried, or hidden. Then Jared stopped walking and whispered. They even say that the 5 dead guys were tossed into the basement furnace and that their ghosts watch over the fortune to make sure that no Noland ever gets it. That's just a bunch of malarkey. Caleb was furious. He felt his great-great-grandfather had been slandered and knew him to have been a good man, not a hardened, dishonest one. A bunch of what? Jared laughed. It's all lies. I know enough about my great-grandfather to know he would never have done that. He gave because he really loved people. He was not some evil deceiver. Well, I don't know. I'm just telling you what I've heard. What everyone's heard. Jared shook his head and shrugged his shoulders. Hey guys, it's right up here. Noland. Angelo's interruption could not have come at a better time to change the subject. He was pointing to a place where large boulders were scattered over several acres of land in small groups. Why do they call it Noland? David asked. Do you see those rusted signs over there and over there and there? Jared was pointing off into the distance to several very worn signs. They're no trespassing signs. They don't want anyone going near those huge boulders. It's dangerous. Under them is like nothing, like a bottomless pit. I've heard that some have even lost pets in them. David was shocked. Wait, what? Like... He was too afraid to finish his question, but Jared did not hesitate. Yes, like gone. Forever. All of this talk about supposed ghosts and lost pets was scary to imagine, especially for David. Even though it may have only been only town gossip and twisted stories from the past of long ago, Caleb had approached one of the small groups of boulders and proceeded to toss a rock into one of its narrow crevices. No one was able to hear it as it tumbled into the darkness. Bottomless pit was an apt description, shrouded in plenty of mystery. What was this place? And where did this pit lead to. But answers would need to wait as the explorers ventured on toward the quarry. When they arrived, they gazed over the huge hole in the ground, not quite what they had expected. Boring would have been an understatement. So, I heard you guys are selling the quarry, Jared commented. Not that I've heard, which may mean little, though, Caleb conceded. As they looked off to the left, they could see the spring that fed the quarry. But not any ordinary spring. The very spring that the old mining company had broken into that had supposedly killed 5 employees. Just the thought of it made David want to go back. He wondered if dinner was almost ready, and if it was not, his stomach was certain it should be. Angelo, would you like some more mashed potatoes? Fried chicken? There's plenty, Dave offered. Sure, thanks, Dr. Noland. Both, please? Anybody else? He asked. Jared? Well, I think I might. Thank you, sir. Angelo looked with surprise at his friend. 3 helpings of each were a lot for everyone, even a home run king. David wondered if this was the reason Jared was so much bigger than everyone else on the team. Me too, Dad. Perhaps, he thought, this might be the short route to his needed growth spurt. All other answers seemed to elude him, and so he desperately wanted it. As David set his plate down in front of him with another chicken thigh and heaping mound of potatoes, he stared at it for a moment, second-guessing his ability to polish it all off, then spontaneously said, So, Caleb, you should tell Mom and Dad about the dog today next. Caleb, sitting across from his brother, quickly kicked him under the table. His look said, If you so much as suggest I may have hit a dog in the face with a rock, you're next. Next to the, woodpile. Yeah, the woodpile. It was very unlike David to be so stilted in a speech. Bethany was the one who looked mystified, but it was Dave who spoke. So, Caleb, a dog next to a woodpile? His suspicions were clearly noted. Oh, yeah, there was this dog next to a woodpile. Okay, I got that. I mean, next to a woodpile today. Actually, next door. It was a black Rottweiler. It was really black and sleeping, but woke up. Must have, I don't know, heard something? That's all. Really, not a big deal. He could only keep staring at his brother like he had tried to get him in trouble. David was probably still upset about what he had done to him at baseball practice, he thought. David's eyes met his, and he understood what they were saying. Yeah, really not a big deal at all. At all. It sounded so awkward. His parents were sure to inquire further, so David had to think of something quickly. But Jared told us something really strange today. It was about the Keyhouse. Can you believe it, Dad? Jared has heard about the Keyhouse too? The question caught Dave a bit off guard, but served well to shift the discussion. So, Jared, you've heard of the Keyhouse, have you? Yeah, like everyone around here has. It's a legend. I mean, because it's where Mr. Noland, your great, Mr. Jonathan Noland, Dave helped clarify. Yeah, him. It's where he hid the treasure. But of course, it's just a legend, right? Perhaps it is, yes, Dave replied. But it's haunted, Dad. Tell him, Jared, David prompted. Well, again, that's the legend. Jared sounded apologetic. Well, boys, Dave began to explain. Let me assure you, there are no ghosts in this house, and no ghosts haunting some treasure that people might believe is hidden in this house. Dave thought it might be good to use this opportunity as a teaching moment. You see, the Bible says that when a person dies, they immediately go to their final destination, and that is not Earth. It's clearly heaven or hell, depending on whether they believed wholeheartedly in Jesus to live for him or not. Wow! So we never wander the earth like in Scrooge? Angelo asked. Dave understood that Angelo was referring to the story A Christmas Carol. No, actually. When we die, we never pay for our wrongs by caring about some long, ponderous chain here on earth, as Marley did in the story. Since Jesus paid for our sins by dying and being punished on the cross in our place, those who truly believe in him will never have to be punished for those sins. Not ever. But those who continue to reject Jesus must. Just not on earth. Does that make sense? Yeah, like a lot, Jared confessed. Great. So, boys, no more talk about some haunted treasure, shall we? Yes, sir, came the chorus from the four boys. My, not quite the dinner conversation expected now, is it? Bethany replied. So, Dad, I understand that we sold the quarry. Was that a good thing? Well, that's the rumor around town anyway, Jared added. To answer your question, his dad replied, we have not sold the quarry, but we are hiring subcontractors to begin mining it again. We've done some sonar research and discovered there's a tremendous amount of granite in the quarry as well as limestone. That's a very nice commodity to mine. But what about all the water? Caleb continued to inquire. Shouldn't be a problem. We'll blast the spring to seal it off. The underground water table will rise, but it will be diverted to some degree through another spring that already exists. Apparently, it branches just before the quarry underground. We're just plugging one of those branches up. Then we'll start pumping the water out of the quarry to mine the granite and limestone. Does that make sense? I guess. So, we're not selling? Absolutely not. It will continue to stay in the Noland family. But so you know, they do the blasting on a Saturday in about a week and a half. Jared looked at Caleb. Good to know. I guess not everything one hears around town is gospel truth. 10% of the girls worldwide become prostitutes. Whoa, that's terrible, Jared said with a bit of a blush. But true, Caleb continued. The health care in the poorer, war-torn countries where a lot of the orphanages are is terrible. Most deaths of children in these countries could be easily prevented with just some simple health care. Children's hospitals are in super high demand, you know. Caleb paused, reflecting on what he said. There's got to be a way to change this, don't you think? The dinner table was quiet and reflective. The question hung in the air like the final note of a funeral dirge. Perhaps this was the best. This was best. Quick answers can sometimes be shallow and lack thought or compassion. Truths like this sting. They need time to be weighed and thought through. Bethany broke the silence. The heartache in our world is not always easy to answer, Caleb. But your question is a good one and necessary. True Christianity cares for the orphans. Honestly, the problem can feel too big to solve. So sometimes we don't try. But we should. Even in small ways. I'm interested to read your solution when you're done. Same here, Dave added. Jared leaned over to Caleb. Dude, you have to solve this? Good luck. Actually, I think we all need to try to solve this, Dave suggested. With that, Bethany stood to gather the dinner dishes, and Dave joined her. The rest of the dinner conversation continued on about baseball and upcoming All-Stars, while Lizzie excitedly ran to get her new Miami Marlins baseball cap to show their guests. Chapter 8: Tunnel Vision. The weekend could not have come soon enough for Caleb and David. They had spent nearly every night lying awake anticipating the adventure. The eeriness of the dark tunnel was indeed scary, and what creatures or peril lay down its long twisting path was most certainly not the subject of their late night discussions, or at least they forbade themselves to talk about them. Young boys' imaginations can be quite wild and far-fetched, but with their dad there, they were certain there was nothing to be afraid of, and just how it would lead them to any treasure, if it was supposedly hidden somewhere in their house, still remained a baffling mystery. As Dave and Caleb were gathered in the kitchen Saturday morning after an early breakfast of waffles and sausage, they waited for David to join them. "David, are you about ready?" Dave called up to his straggling son. But no sooner did the call go out than the answer came. David whipped around the kitchen corner with his backpack slung around his shoulders. "Present and ready for adventure and danger, sir." David greeted them. "Adventure, yes. Danger, let's hope not," their dad replied while examining his son's jam-packed backpack with a questioning frown. David had obvious difficulty properly securing the top. It was so full. "David, seriously now?" his brother jeered. "What are you all bringing? We're not going on a week-long camping trip." David set his pack down on the ground. "Behold my skills! I am completely prepared for everything." As he untied the top flap and opened it, it became obvious what he was prepared for. "What's this? Bear repellent? Mosquito repellent? And this?" Caleb grabbed another can of spray and read out loud. "Critter Ritter repels dogs, cats, skunks, rabbits, raccoons, and wow, elephants? Now this will sure come in handy." "What? It does not say that, does it?" What? It does not say that, does it? David quickly seized his protective weapon and scanned the can. "It doesn't say." "I was just messing with you." A folding pickaxe, a folding shovel, some slip grip, our head flashlights. Dave then proceeded to pull out a large Ziploc bag from underneath all the heavy equipment, and an endless supply of waffles and sausage with plenty of syrup. I see. As their dad held out the bag over the kitchen floor, it was oozing syrup like Niagara Falls. "I would recommend you store something like this in a front pocket and not under the heavy tools, David." "Oh man, there goes my snack." David's disappointment, however, was short-lived, and his frown soon turned into a clever smile. "But I did bring this to share." He reached around his pack for a moment, and then pulled out another Ziploc bag with what appeared to be 3 chicken thighs completely smothered in mashed potatoes, and luckily the bag had not been broken. "Voila!" he exclaimed. "Thank goodness," Caleb commented sarcastically. "For a moment there, I thought we were going to starve on this trip," which will probably last about as long as it takes for the rest of that syrup to ooze out. "Kids, the jokes, you're killing me," Dave surrendered. "Let's call it a truce, shall we? Before we head out, let's quickly clean up and repack David's bag. I'm sure we'll have enough food. After all, your mother did pack us some chips and hot dogs with plenty of ketchup and mustard. For the hot dogs." He was looking at David. Oh no, the papers are stuck. Okay, here we go. "I did that only only a couple of times, honestly," he admitted. His father looked straight at him, carefully and playfully emphasizing each word. "For the Hot dogs. Got it. Okay. Now, are we ready, gentlemen? Bethany, hun, this troop of daring and adventurous frontiersmen is ready to head out. Wish us luck. Bethany kissed her big hero, then both of her little daring heroes, and wished them luck. Dave threw the back door open and marched out. Follow me, men! Lizzie ran to the door, waving goodbye. Next time, I get to go, don't forget. But her words got lost in the slamming of the porch screen door and the drama of the men's marching sounds with "Hup, 2, 3, 4, we are heading out the door." Dave loved to play up any possible drama for his children to enjoy. But time would soon tell just how much it really would be all enjoyed. It did not take long for the Nolands, with Dad's help, to remove the cement slab covering the tunnel that descended into the dark map room. Within a minute, each Noland was resting his boots on level, rocky ground. After they retrieved their head flashlights from David's backpack and secured them properly, they turned them on. Now they filled the room with an abundance of light. The door to the long, eerie passageway still lay open before them. "Shall we, gentlemen?" their dad asked, looking at each of them. "Yeah!" the boys agreed excitedly. "Then, into the unknown adventures, we go." Dave led the way, brushing away massive cobwebs initially. Their lights shined on the scurrying creatures fearing to be discovered. The boys were glad their dad was up there to chase more than the spiders away. With fear displaced and courage at the helm, the two Noland boys felt very confident they would soon discover the long-held secrets of this underground maze and set the record straight about their great-great-grandpa, putting to rest the long-held, ill-founded rumors of the town. And a maze it was, twisting this way and that, up a few rock stairs and down some more. It seemed endless. They were fortunate, David thought, that the only thing they had thus far encountered were a few unlit torches protruding from the cave wall back at the first set of stone steps. At least, so far. So far, there were no creatures, no raccoons, no bears, and most certainly no elephants yet. It almost felt as if the maze doubled back. But where? Toward the house? Even Dave, who had a good sense of direction, could not tell where they were heading. Suddenly, and without warning, Dave's headlamp flickered and went out. "Dad, what's going on?" David called out. "Are the batteries shot already? Honestly, I replaced all of them before we left. I did." No sooner had he finished than his headlamp shut off too. Then before an answer could be given, Caleb's light stopped working as well. From the darkness, David asked again, but more a whisper, as if someone might be near and overhear them. "Dad, what's going on?" Dave had removed his headlamp and was checking it. I really don't know, guys, but we'll figure it out." "Dad, do you think we're getting close to the treasure and someone's watching over it?" David's fear was peeking out. "Maybe they're doing this." "David, let me assure you," his father said calmly, "this tunnel is not haunted. No one is keeping our flashlights from working." "But all three at the same time?" David asked. "I understand that is very odd, but I'm sure there's an explanation for it, but just give me some time." But without any light, not even a faint trickle, Dave could not see well enough to fix the problem, if there was one that could be fixed. "Dad, there were some torches on the walls back there not too far. I can feel along the wall to find them. Let me go get them." "Tell you what, we'll all go back to get them. How's that?" "Sounds good to me," David confessed. Standing in the dark had to be his least favorite thing to do. As Caleb turned and took only a few steps, his headlamp began to flicker again. But after a few more steps, It went out. I have never seen anything like this, their father conceded. I don't get it. What's to get? Dad, Jared was right. The treasures. Don't say it, David. It's not haunted. There's no ghosts blowing out our lights. There's just not. Though Dave was quite frustrated that the lamps were giving them such problems, he demonstrated tremendous restraint in his anger. But if ghosts were not the answer, what was? Was the question in everyone's mind. The torches, Dad? Caleb asked again. Yes, let's go get them. It took quite a while to retrace their steps, hands against the wall, stumbling over a few steps along the way. They soon arrived, however, at the base of the first set of stone steps where they had seen the torches before. They now felt for them along the wall. Here they are, Dave said as he lifted 3 torches from their bored-out holes. He began searching his backpack. Sorry, guys, we'll need to go back. I forgot to get matches. I guess you could go all the way back, or you could just ask me if I brought a lighter. David was taunting them now as his fear began to subside. Seriously? David, you brought a lighter? His dad asked. Well, technically, I didn't say I had, but you could ask. David loved his little games, but knowing the right time for playful banter was not his strong suit. David, just tell us if you have a lighter, David argued. That doesn't sound like a question to me. Dad, Dave interrupted before things got out of hand. David, do you have a lighter on you? Let me check, he said slowly. He patted the sides of his bag, then unzipped the front one. This is why I couldn't fit the waffles in the front pocket. Is this what you're looking for? That's my expensive grill lighter. You really should. But Dave held his temper. He paused before he said more. You did good. Thinking through everything, David. Very good. Maybe ask next time about these things, okay? Dave grabbed the lighter and held it up to each torch. Despite the age, the oils had sufficiently remained in, the torch tips, or the cloth tips, and ignited well. Let's head back down the tunnel now, Dave recommended. These torches look like they've got quite a bit of life left in them. I think we'll be fine. I lost myself. Okay, here we go. After reaching their turn around point, they rounded 2 more bends and came to what appeared to be the end of the tunnel. Though their headlamps would not turn back on, their torches glowed sufficiently. Do you see a metal lever anywhere? David asked. Nothing, buddy. Just solid, sealed rock all the way around, his dad said, looking closely. After Caleb and his dad had scanned the massive rock that stood some 8 feet high and just as wide, Caleb asked, Do you suppose this is it? That maybe great-great-grandpa never finished the tunnel? That maybe the map on the wall was what he wanted to do but never completed it? And this has simply been a wasted adventure for nothing? And as usual, the town legends aren't true? His questions, dripping with disappointment, rambled. I can't argue with that, son. I see no possible way through. No secret levers, no hidden buttons, nothing. Interestingly, their dad's face revealed more disappointment than theirs. As David brought his torch up to the tunnel's end, he moved it over the facing as the others had done. Nothing. Or at least nothing significant. This triangle-looking shape thing on the rock sure seems odd. Just the markings from the axes and chisels used to carve the tunnel out with. Nothing more, I'm sure. His brother sighed. They all held up their lights to the end of the passageways, just staring, hoping to receive some epiphany, some sudden jolt of insight. But nothing. No secret solved, no mystery unveiled. Boys, I'm sorry, but I think this is the end of the road. Mr. Jonathan James Noland had no buried treasure, no secret stash of wealth, no key house. And I can guarantee you there is no hidden treasure in that house. We scanned it inch by inch as we moved in. If something were there, we'd know by now. I'm afraid these are all just silly town rumors. Fun stories to be passed on from generation to generation. Nothing more.
Wow, we were so close,
David sighed. So close, David agreed. Sorry, boys, but we should probably head back. As Bethany turned the bedside light, she snuggled next to her husband. He was quiet, strangely quiet. I'm sorry your nice adventure with the boys didn't turn out as you had expected, dear. But Dave quietly played it off. Oh, not a big deal.
Really? Not a big deal? Dave, honestly, you've seemed more disappointed than our adventurous boys, and they looked forward to today the entire week. I mean, they could hardly wait for today. They were so excited.
Dave just lay there without a sound.
It's okay to be disappointed,
Bethany added. The room lay still. After some time, Dave rolled over, staring at the ceiling, and spoke. I felt like a little kid all over again. It was like I was sitting on Grandpa's lap all those years ago, listening to the stories for the first time. My imagination went wild. Pirates, treasure, secret passageways. I honestly thought for a brief moment that maybe there was a hint of truth in all of them. I thought maybe my childhood dreams weren't completely wrong. Maybe I couldn't even spare my kids the disappointment.
Dave, dear, they are so resilient, just like you when you were a kid. They'll be fine, I'm sure.
But Bethany's thoughts turned from her children, and she paused. Will you, honey? Dave rolled over, this time with a smile, and just hugged his understanding wife. I suppose I will.
You asleep?
The question broke the hushed stillness in the room as moonbeams danced off the crystal knobs dangling from the ceiling light.
You asleep?
David asked a little louder. Not really. I keep thinking about everything. I just don't get it.
Get what?
Why so many people think there's a treasure here, like everyone does. Even that maniac in the black car. You would think someone would draw a map on a wall and rock when they were done with everything, not when they were beginning and then not finish.
Why don't we read Great Great Grandpa's diary? Dad already said he hasn't finished it yet. With how busy he is with school, I'm not sure he will. It may tell us something, Caleb. Let's read it tomorrow. You know, little brother, you may be onto something. Maybe we should check it out. Tomorrow, then. That's the end of the chapters for today. That's weird that their lights turned off like that. To me, that sounds like interference. But it's of batteries, and batteries are powered through acid, so could electrical interference mess with them? It could be magnetic interference because they're underground, if anything, right?
Magnetic interference sounds about right. That's why there were torches. And back then, they wouldn't have known if it was magnetic interference there or not because they had torches. I don't know. What do you guys think? Put in the comments below. What do you think is causing their lights to turn off? Why did it just stop there? And I'm not going to forget about what David said about
That little triangle thing.
yeah, that triangle shape sounds interesting to me. I'm starting to think of National Treasure with Luke Cage. Just like that, got a brain blast and figure out what's going on. Anyways, I got guys. I hope you had a good time with this book reading. Uh, Getting back into it feels a little weird to get back into it because I kind of feel lost a little because I forgot. But don't worry, we're gonna get right back into the swing of things. So, with all of that being said, I hope you guys have a good night. God bless you all, and remember that Jesus loves you. Bye.